Hello and welcome to week 2. Hope everybody had hardly any trouble getting around. Looks like everybody was doing well getting around with the introductory folder in week 1. We only had one assignment that was graded in week 1 that you see on your grade, and that was a LinkedIn assignment. And talking about that, there were about 3 people who wrote a report, put in a Dropbox, but I don't see them in LinkedIn. I don't see an account for them, and they didn't connected with me. So that's the main point of that assignment, to get connected with me, and I can see your account there in LinkedIn. So be sure to do that this week sometime. This week you're having your first discussion. Be careful when you post in there. I'm an English teacher at heart. I teach communications and English. So be sure to watch your grammar and your spelling and your mechanics, punctuation. Be sure that you post at least 3 days this week and respond to 3 other of your classmates' initial posts about the assignment for this week. Also be sure to go back, and anybody responds to your posts, you want to reply back to them. I used an analogy of being at a party, and if you go over and talk to 3 people, but you have people come to you first and talk to you, but you don't come back to them, that's kind of rude. So be sure that you respond back to those who responded to your initial post. Other assignments this week. Get a quiz. Nope, no quiz this week. You have your first weekly summary. Now I notice some people have taken other classes, and one thing I want to admit about Bryant and Stratton, and it's the same thing at every college that I've taught at, there's a little consistency trying to be formed here by Bryant and Stratton. They're doing their hardest to make every one of the teachers use the same rubrics and templates and things like that, and that's what I'm doing. I gave you an example of what I'm looking for in a weekly summary. I posted the rubric that you're going to be graded on for your weekly summary. And I've even posted what I call the guidelines, which I would recommend that you print out and keep with you as you work through the week. And that's the way I want you to do your weekly summary. You'll actually have headings from the discussion, and you'll tell what you learned. And you want to include at least 2 of your classmates' posts and what you learned from their discussions. You have from the lectures what you learned. You have from the readings what you learned. So be sure that you break it up into that. You don't have to do any kind of APA citations. Yeah, I know people had some English 101 already where they did. Here, you're given a break in COM 150. You don't have to do any citations. Don't have to bring any outside reading in, even though I post it. You can talk about it, but you don't have to post it or do any citations. Excuse me, I'm getting over the flu. One thing that you do have to do is important. And in a conclusion, you want to mention what you learned this week and how you may be able to apply it outside the classroom, in the real world, in your job, in other classes. So that's a very important component to the weekly summary that Bryant and Stratton has added. And like I say in your guidelines, it's like 30% of the grade of the weekly summary. So be sure that you get some kind of conclusion where you talk about that. One more thing about the discussions. You'll notice that I've taken out what I call the dreaded re, that RE that automatically pops up in the subject line when they respond to somebody. Now this is a college class, not a business world. And in the business world, it's important to have that re. But for here, it's not. That's why I've taken it. I made it set up so it doesn't automatically pop up. So please, don't go back in there and put the re back in there. And come up with a subject line. Think of it like a story that you're writing, and it's a title. You're kind of giving a hint of what you're going to be showing in your response. Don't just say, nice post, or I really like what you said. That's not what I'm looking for in discussion post responses. Tell them why you liked it. Tell them what about it that you did enjoy. So whatever you write about, give a title that kind of reflects what you're going to be talking about in your post. So don't say reply to Jane, or response to Bill, or my response to Steve. Don't say something like that. Come up with a better subject line. I think that's about it for this week. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll probably check with you later.